Welcome back to Coffee and Cream, a podcast where we are changing the narrative one cup of coffee at a time. My name's Jake, and I'm here with Matt Bryant.
What is going on, my brother?
Whew, not a whole lot, dude. We just came off of a busy week. Busy but good week. We had our baby moon.
Bro, you guys are rolling when I saw on social media.
We were, yeah. So we hit up Nashville, Alabama, North Carolina, Virginia, Illinois, 10 states.
Bro.
10 states in all.
Bro, y'all set the bar high for a baby moon.
We did. The bar was set. And also, we got to meet the bar. We got to meet the bar. Dwayne Atkinson. Is that good? Dwayne Atkinson.
Yeah.
The Dwayne.
Yeah.
From the Bar Podcast.
Yeah,
if you didn't get the joke the first time, I'm over-explaining it. Whatever. So he was awesome. That'd be bad if I was like, he was kind of a jerk.
No, bro. That would be, no. You ever talk to someone either online or in person? He's like, you real? That's Dwayne.
Yeah, that was Dwayne. I was like, oh hey, he's real.
He's real.
It was great to meet up with him and kind of chit chat with him about podcasting and all that kind of good stuff. Kind of planning out for 2019 and was looking forward for him. He's got a lot of cool stuff happening with the Bar Podcast. So make sure you guys go check out the Bar Podcast.
Yeah, man.
That's good stuff.
Good stuff indeed.
You doing all right?
Yeah, man. I'm making it. It's a good week. Can't complain.
Yeah.
I'm just rocking and rolling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, recording this on Monday, so week hasn't really begun.
Yeah, true. But if you never sleep, there's never a week to begin.
Do you not sleep?
I don't feel like I do. I mean, I do, but I don't feel like it sometimes.
He's a melatonin or something.
Yeah, I don't know. My girlfriend's been telling me to go to a sleep specialist. I'm like, I don't want to. I still get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Literally today, I could have slept into 7, 8 o'clock. Still woke up at 5. My body's just a natural get up kind of guy.
I mean, that's fine, but are you sleeping?
I guess I am. I don't remember what happens.
Here's what we need. We need a Casper mattress to sponsor us. What's their contact info? Someone out there has their contact info. We'll get Casper mattress up here. We'll get Matt a new mattress.
I don't know if that will help me. I'll still get up at 5. We'll see what happens.
This is the true test of Casper mattresses. If they can, they're not sponsoring us, but I feel like they are right now. If you can sleep past 5.
Hey, bro. If they want to take up that challenge, Casper, let's tag them. I'm gonna tag you.
Yeah, tag them.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag you guys in this. If y'all can make me sleep past 5 o'clock, with lights and everything going, man, y'all the best.
Yeah,
y'all the best.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tag y'all.
So speaking of sponsors, who aren't really our sponsors, we got to talk about Switch Coffee.
Switch Coffee, baby.
SwitchCoffee.co. And you recently got to tour their facility. Not jealous. Not jealous.
Hey, man, you were in 10 different states in 3 days. You beat me.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not bitter.
Yeah,
I'm not bitter.
Don't worry, man. I did the scoop for all of us, man. Switch is about to do some big stuff, man.
Dude, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were just actually in a local newspaper, St. Louis Review.
Yeah.
Bro, they are about to blow up. I got a chance to go take a look at their facility, taste some new things they got coming down the pipeline. Switch, you know what I'm talking about. If you're listening, you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. So just be on the lookout for it, everyone. Just anybody listening to this podcast, SwitchCoffee.co right now. Hit them up. You can actually get a discount, can't you?
10%.
Yeah.
Use our promo code Coffee and Cream to get 10% off your next order at SwitchCoffee.co.
Do it.
Do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Shia LaBeouf, do it.
They are the Nike of coffee.
Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're controversial, man.
I'm a controversial kind of dude.
Can't get Nike on here.
Maybe we could. You never know.
Sponsored by Nike.
Prophecy. I'm swaying.
Speak it. The word of faith. Speak it to being.
Oh, no. We're too reformed for that.
We are. So, I also want to give a shout out to our other sponsor, JM Films. If your business or organization needs video marketing that gets the results you're looking for, be sure to contact John Morgan at jmfilms.com. All right, so we actually have a guest with us today who has kids and is pretty cool.
I would say so.
Pretty cool. We want to welcome on our podcast today, Trillia Newbell. Trillia, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We are beyond excited to have you on to talk to us about your passion for diversity and your books. But first, we want to introduce you to our audience, people who may not know who you are, who aren't familiar with your work and all you do with the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. So kind of tell us a little about who you are, what you do, your work, church, family, hobbies, the whole nine yards.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You've already mentioned that I'm a mom. So I'm a wife of 15 years, a mom to two, a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, which I can't believe. And I work part-time for the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention. I'm the director of community outreach, which is just a lot of words. And and I write and speak for hobbies. I love cycling, like a road cycling.
Oh, wow.
Yes, like the real deal. And then I just enjoy being outside. I wouldn't call myself outdoorsy, which is funny because I don't like bugs. So but
I feel that.
That's fair.
Outside, which doesn't, anyways, who knows? So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. That's great. So you're a mom, you work for the ERLC, you're a writer, you speak at conferences, you have a lot of hats that you wear. So what has been key in such all your God-honoring pursuits of those things? How do you balance and manage all those things?
Well, I think sometimes not great. But when the Lord, when it is good, I really do try as much as humanly possible to prioritize the local church and my family. So I do travel on Sundays, but I try very hard not to. And then I prioritize my family. So I'm at home for long periods of time, and then I travel, and then at home. And so for me, it's just about balancing time as much as I humanly possibly can and being accountable. I'm accountable to my husband. I'm accountable to my local church. And so I think that's really important. So I'm not running this show, if you want to call it that. That's a terrible way to put it, on my own. I'm not just doing this random ministry. It's a family affair, and it's also a local church. I inform them, I involve them as I can, and talk to my pastor about what I'm doing. And so I just think those things are really important.
No, I think that's super important. So you said you're involved with your local church, and that's a huge priority for you. Speak to our listeners a little bit. Why should they be attending a local church? Why? This is not in the questions, but this is something that's just been interested to me for a long time. But you're so involved with the local church. Why is this? Just a couple brief sentences. Why is it so important for people to be involved, especially Christians in the local church?
Well, first, Jesus died for the church. So Jesus died for his bride.
Yeah.
And so there is the church is central to how we are. You really can't exercise anything in the New Testament without the local church.
Right.
That's right.
So it's a part of being in a community, the one another's, and I think ultimately just knowing that's it's what Jesus died for. Jesus died for the church, and I don't have it in front of me, but I'm thinking of, is it Ephesians 5 or 6? We focus so much on marriage in those scriptures, but think about the sacrifice. That, and Jesus is the head of the church, and that he's going to one day present us as pure, and anyway, so Jesus is number one. Number two, I think we're made for community. We really cannot exercise much of the New Testament without the body, and so the body of many parts, and so it's essential that we don't neglect meeting with one another, that we are a part of this beautiful, messed up, church that the Lord has given us. It's a gift. And so, and I'm not saying these things lightly. I know it can be hard, which is why I said messed up. but it is how God intended. He's building his church, and he intends for us to be a part of, and help be a part of that mission.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Well, Trillia, thanks for that little sidebar real quick. I appreciate it. I know it's an important thing for me. It's an important thing for our listeners to recognize, and we want to be accountable to our church as well for the things that we do for the podcast and how we promote the gospel and racial reconciliation. So just kind of a lighter question real quick. Are you a coffee drinker?
Yeah.
I love it. What's
coffee and light cream?
A little light cream. What are some of your favorite? Is there a coffee shop there in Knoxville or Nashville that you love going to?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I'm from Knoxville. I live in Nashville area.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's funny that you said Knoxville. I don't know where you got that. So the Frothy Monkey, if you're ever in Franklin or in Nashville, you got to go to the Frothy Monkey.
Yeah. I think my wife has been there. Yeah.
Oh, and I love Just Love Coffee, which is also in Brentwood. Okay. And then there's Java something or another. There's a bunch of them. Yeah. And I really enjoy our little coffee shops, but those are probably two that I frequent.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's great. So we are so excited to have you on this podcast. You are the first female guest we've had. And it's what? Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deal. I mean, we were racking up brand, and we were like, we need to get more female speakers on here because they have as big, if not a bigger voice in the racial reconciliation conversation as some of the other people we've had. And so I was like, well, we need a Trillia Newbell. Let's see if she can do it. And so we're so honored to have you on there. And I think one of the things we want to talk about is one of your biggest selling books, God's Very Good Idea.
Yes.
One of which people were very excited about when we posted we were having on. They're like, oh, people from our church were posting like, we love this book and we read it to our kids all the time.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. Someone said it's been instrumental in how they talk to their children about this topic. And so I want to but for some of our listeners, some of our listeners are guys or single or might not have kids yet. Can you talk to them about the big overall idea of the book? Well, what's the overview? What's the book about? Just kind of give a brief summary.
Yeah. Well, it really is about the gospel. And it's funny. It's funny because they'll say, now I bought this book and it's definitely about the beauty of diversity, but it's really about the gospel. And I'm like, yes, it is. So I, at the beginning, just, it's kind of a, what's the storyline of the scripture with a focus on love. So I'm talking about how, God created people, and we were made to love one another. We ruined God's very good idea. He always had a plan to rescue his idea through Jesus. And if we repent and trust in the finished work of Jesus Christ, we can have a relationship with him and a relationship with others. And that one day every tribe, tongue, and nation will be worshiping together, but we don't have to wait. We can now enjoy one another today. And so that is the essence of the book, that God created it, we ruined it, he rescued it, and one day we will live together perfectly with Jesus. Yeah.
I'm trying not to dance too much right now.
You can't see Matt right now, but he is about ready to get up and do a praise dance.
Yes. Oh, that's the realness right there.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about your heart behind the book? Like, why did you write this book, more particularly for children?
Yeah, it's actually really funny. Not funny, but I don't know why I use that word, but it's really simple. Yeah. I was asked to teach a Sunday school class at my church. So it started out with me trying to find curriculum to teach the kids at my class and not finding anything that was gospel centered and also on the Imago Dei and diversity and so I couldn't find anything. So I was like, I had to write it.
Yeah.
So I had to write this curriculum. So I wrote out the curriculum. It wasn't the story that you see now, but a curriculum. And so I went and I taught it. And the kids, they're little sweet, wide-eyed, asking questions. I knew, okay, if I can't find this, how many other people can't? And then a friend of mine called me and told me that her daughter who is friends with my daughter's name is Sydney. She said, Mom, we learned that Sydney is not only my friend, she's my sister. And at that moment, I knew if anyone would take this book, I've got to try to write it. I'm not a children's book author. I'd never written a children's book before. And so I contacted an editor at the Good Book Company and was like, hey, I have this idea. And he said, okay. And I said, yes. And then we got to work. And but it was really just birthed out of a need I saw. And the Lord has blessed it. And it seems so obvious that this is a need, it was a need that the Lord allowed me to participate in. And now I've seen book after book after book on this topic. And it's really sweet to see people writing and providing resources on this topic for children.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's really interesting because we the focus of our podcast has always been the gospel is the answer to racial reconciliation. It's the answer to racism. It's the answer to all of these things that we find in our country today. And it's interesting that you talk about God's very good idea in terms of the gospel. Yeah. And you bring it back to that main and central point. Why is the gospel so important to this idea of diversity? Why is it so central to this idea of racial reconciliation and celebrating unity in that?
Well, I know we focus on Ephesians 2 quite a bit, but Ephesians 2, if we look at the whole chapter and not just stop at verse 10, verses 1 through 10 are essential. It's the gospel that we were dead, following the prince of the power of the air and by nature children of wrath, and then goes on, but by grace you have been saved through faith. But it doesn't end there. And then we find out that God has created one new man through the finished work of Jesus Christ, that the veil of hostility has been torn. And so the gospel, it does a couple of things. One, lots of things, but one, simplifying it. We are reconciled to a holy and just God through the finished work of Jesus Christ. So there's that reconciliation. But the gospel also has achieved our reconciliation with those who are not like us. And what we experience because of the fallenness of this world, the sin in our hearts, is that we don't often live out what has already been purchased. So it's essential. The gospel, it accomplishes our greatest need to be reconciled with God and then to be reconciled with one another. It's about living that out. And we know through the gospel that we have the power through the Holy Spirit to repent of sin and to walk this out. But it takes effort and work and thought. But also we know that God created, if we want to start before the gospel in Genesis 1, that God created everyone in the image of God in the Imago Dei, and He's created us all equally. And then we see that Jesus gives His disciples a multi-ethnic mission to go and make disciples of all nations.
Yes.
Which is our mission. And then we see in Acts the church being built all over the place. And then we know Revelation. So it's not something, I really try very hard to take it back to the Bible. And there's a reason, there's 1,000 reasons why, is because it's so politicized that we it is essential to frame it for the foundation of this pursuit of diversity to be found in the scriptures, because it there's a purpose, there's a reason, and it's for the glory of God. So throughout all of scripture, from Genesis to Revelation, we see God making a people for himself who are diverse for his glory, and Jesus dying on the cross, bearing the wrath that we deserve for a diverse people, for himself, for his glory. And so I see it all throughout the scriptures.
Amen.
So you're saying that the gospel has implications for our actions. Is that right?
Well, I am saying that. Yeah.
That sounds a little like cultural Marxism to me. I don't know about you, but
I don't even want to get on that. I don't even know what to say. But yes.
Yeah.
The gospel, I mean, faith without works is what? Dead. And we do have a call to love our neighbor as ourselves. Love does not do a harm to a neighbor. We know that we're sinners, so we must repent of our bias, our racism, our pride, our arrogance. And so I don't understand. Yes, I don't.
That's a train we don't have to go down tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, that's so powerful, and that's the gospel for us. But you wrote this book specifically for children in mind. Why is it so important for parents to train their children up to understand God's very good idea?
Oh, they're going to learn something else otherwise.
Ooh.
The culture will teach them, or we can.
Oh.
And well, it's true. And God has given us this responsibility, and it is a great one, to teach our children, to raise them up in the way they should go. And what an opportunity to teach them the foundations of the truth of the gospel at an early age. And one of the things that I try to do in not just the book, but really when I'm thinking about these things, is celebrate, because the culture and our absolutely ugly, grievous history is well, I just used the adjectives I would have, or the words I would have used, but our culture and our history typically approach race from a negative. These are the negative things that have happened in this. But what I hope parents will do is to explain why we can actually celebrate one another and enjoy one another, and why, because of the cross, we can do these things. So we need to be ahead of the culture, but we don't. Let me back one thing up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we minimize or we don't talk about history.
Sure.
Just the opposite.
Of course.
Yeah.
we talk about it all.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but I also think it's essential and important that we're teaching our kids about the gospel and beyond, what the implications of the gospel and what the gospel has achieved for us.
Yeah. So good. And I love what you said about celebrating the differences, standing out from the culture, which I think sometimes minimizes, say, can we all just get along, or I'm colorblind kind of language. But the Bible calls us, because of our unity in Christ, to celebrate our differences, celebrate our diversity, because we're unified, we have the ability to do that with purpose, you know. And I think you have such a great voice in this, not only because you're an amazing writer and an amazing author, but you're a mom of multi-ethnic kids. So this is something you probably practice a lot. And so what has been something that has been key for you in these conversations with your own kids? Yeah.
Okay. So for your listeners who don't know, my husband is white. And so we do have two beautiful biracial children. And for us, it's just been a matter of even when my son was really young, he noticed that mommy and daddy looked different, and he called himself Brown or called me Brown, excuse me. He called his dad Peach and himself Peach because he had lighter skin.
Yeah.
And he still does. But, and so I think for us, it's just been a matter of teaching them about culture. We like to teach about more than just black and white, all cultures.
Yeah.
Even recently, we wrote down some countries that we're going to study from the continent of Asia, and we want to study and learn beyond just black and white, and I think that's really important for all of us.
Yeah.
But for us, I remember one day my son, when it clicked, when Jim Crow laws clicked and he got it, he said something like, "Whoa, so you and Daddy wouldn't have been able to drink out of the same fountain?" And he said to me, "I can't imagine anyone being unkind to you," and it was sobering and heartbreaking, and but the reality. And so we live out. Thankfully, we haven't experienced a racism that we, at least overt, or that we know as a family, but we live out these realities of thinking through these topics pretty consistently, because they're thinking through it and trying to, but they haven't seemed to be, they're young, so they aren't struggling with identity issues, or they just seem to just enjoy and embrace both cultures, which is something that we've tried to do. We introduce them to various ways that I grew up, and their culture, their father's culture that has become mine as well. So his half of his family's from Great Britain, so it's real specific, and we just try to embrace and have fun and enjoy, which I think is I don't know, maybe it's helped us to enjoy our differences and enjoy one another.
That's great. That's great. So for people who are listening, what are some of the resources that you have used to help train your kids up in learning about those different cultures and learning to celebrate those the diversity of cultures out there?
So every time someone asks me questions about resources, my brain freezes. So just like normal, I'm like, what resources have I used? But we have used various books and anything from like maps and almanacs and the internet to cookbooks. I mean, so I'm teaching beyond than just history, though we'll go to Barnes and Noble and grab books off and read about history. So I wish that I could think of something really specific, and maybe I can think of them later, and you can put them in your show notes if y'all do that kind of thing.
We do.
Okay. Because as of right now, my brain is just flatlined.
That's totally fine. We totally get it. We get brain farts often on this podcast.
Every episode, I think.
Amazing. I haven't heard anyone else say brain fart before. That's great.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. So moving on from brain farts to talking about so you've written books that aren't only geared towards kids. You've also written a book called United that came out a couple years ago, gearing more towards adult audiences, talking about the subline for the book is captured by God's vision for diversity. Does that book pair well with God's very good idea? And kind of talk to us a little bit about what the purpose of that book was when it was released.
Yeah, so that was my first book, and I would say it probably pairs well.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, does it? You tell me. But it's a little bit more of my story.
Oh yeah.
Than and I give a slight theology of race, using a lot of From Every Tribe, Tongue, and Nation by J. Daniel Hayes, and some thoughts from Thabiti Anyabwile, and anyways, but it is it's my story of how the Lord really opened my eyes to what the things that I valued and hoped for before I became a Christian. I realized were actually his idea, so it does pair well. And not just something that my dad taught me, but as I opened the scriptures when I became a Christian at the age of 22, I realized, whoa, this is the Lord's. These are these desires I have for unity and peace and love or what God desires for the world. And so, and then I talk a lot about being in predominantly white church and how the Lord gave me two good friends, and those friends, I talk about that friendship and what that meant for me as I struggled with, I guess I would have struggled with some identity issues. And then also just longing for diversity, but not having it. So one of my friends was white and the other Chinese, and we met together in accountability group for years and just enjoyed one another. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's so awesome.
As we're beginning to wrap up, coming from a more practical standpoint, I'm sure as you've seen this as the director of community outreach for the ERLC, you've seen some of these hurdles as well, as sometimes cultural barriers can stop people from pursuing that unity and diversity. Sometimes it's not just culture, it can be tied to ethnicity, it can be tied to socioeconomic status. There can be so many cultural barriers that can keep people, especially the church, from pursuing that unity. So from your standpoint, from where you are, what are some practical ways that Christians can pursue unity over and against cultural hurdles?
Okay, this is actually a really longer than a minute answer.
That's totally fine.
Because what happens often is we're going to pursue unity, but unity looks like uniformity, which looks like people who are not like you needing to, what's the word I'm looking, assimilate. And that's not what we want.
Trillia, you better stop, girl. You better stop. Come on now. Woo! Jesus, help me.
You are hilarious. So it's a long, I don't want to give you a trite answer. I want to give you the truth is, and this is so often what we see. So if we're going to truly pursue unity, then unity is not going to look like uniformity necessarily. It might look like accepting other people's preferences over your own and learning to diversify and being unified in that call. So in regards to a practical step, I think one would be, we make everything so complicated. So for example, I don't know you two, right? We don't know each other, but was it weird? Did we tiptoe into this conversation? No, we didn't. We overcomplicate relationships. You guys are now my buddies.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I mean, if I saw you and we sat down, we'd have a great time chatting about whatever. And so I think we overcomplicate the pursuit of one another. That doesn't mean that everyone's going to be best friends, but it doesn't take much to actually just get to know people. And I think that's part of the problem, is that we do not take the necessary steps to just get to know someone, and we overcomplicate. So if you live in an area where there are people all around you who are not like you, then I'd say get a little weird and awkward and get to know someone. Open your mouth, invite them into your home, invite them to church, and do the hard work of evangelism and loving your neighbor. And I don't know. Okay, so that's one practical step, is opening your mouth. Another practical step is learning, which I think we need to understand our history. We need to understand why this is complicated. So if you don't understand why someone is mourning and I'm going to get real specific here. If you don't understand why someone is mourning the shooting death of a Black man, maybe the first response isn't to ignore that pain, but to try to press in. Okay, well, what is this? I don't understand, and I don't have to fully understand, but I can ask questions, and I can mourn, and I can look and see what is this new Jim Crow book that people might be. That's just what is it that actually could be going on here, and why is it that my Black and brown neighbor feels this threat that I don't? What is this about? So ask good questions and get to know people and learn about our history. And that's for all of us. And so practically opening our mouths. Another practical is understanding our history. And I think another practical that people don't think is practical is pray. I really believe that we need to be on our knees asking God for help and help in our churches, help in our nation, help in our hearts to reveal to us where we are, where we struggle and why we struggle, where we're biased, where we're fearful. And God says, if we confess our sin, he's faithful and just to forgive us and to purify us. And so we need to ask, confess, and, but also just pray for this, the hope that we hope to see, the change that we hope to see. Pray for friends, pray for boldness. So I think prayer is another one that people won't think of as practical, but it's probably the most important thing I've said this whole time. I believe, at least.
Absolutely.
100% agree. And now, just so you know, I do have friends through my beloved girlfriend in the Nashville area, so we down there. I'm gonna stop by one of the coffee spots, and I'm like, hey Trillia, you and your hubby can meet us. You know what I'm saying? Like, get some coffee. What's up? Tell me what is up.
It is.
I think that is just beautiful. I think what you said was right. Prayer is the most important piece. I think sometimes we get caught up in strategies and ideas and planning, and I'm going to be bold and say podcasts, that we forget that we need to pray to the Lord who unifies all people and celebrates people's diversity before we even step into that realm of actual action on our behalf. And so I think what you said was right on point.
Yeah. So Trillia, thank you so much. We're beginning to wrap up this conversation. So if our audience wants to hear more from you, where can they find you on social media, blogging, websites? So where can our audience get in touch with you? Okay.
If you can spell my name, you can find me.
Okay.
And the hard part is spelling my name.
Yeah.
So I'm just at trillianewbell.com. And all of my social media feeds is just Trillia Newbell, no space, no dot, nothing.
Okay.
I try to keep it simple.
Nice.
So you spell my name Trillia and then Newbell.
Boom.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, Trillia, thank you so much. Guys, we would love for you to give us a honest 5-star review on iTunes. You can head on over to our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram page for any and all updates, and you'll see when this episode drops if you like our pages. We want to thank our sponsors, JM Films and Switch Coffee. This episode was produced by Nick Francis and was mixed by David Butler. And that will be it for this episode of Coffee and Cream. We will see you guys next time.